So what do Prince Charles, Kate Middleton, Oprah Winfrey, Roseanne Barr, Julia Roberts, Reese Witherspoon, Michelle Obama, Sting, and Ringo Starr all have in common? Gardening. We are living in a crazy, stressful time unlike anything in history, and I'm going to tell you why you should plant a victory garden. But first, what is a victory garden? Chelsea Davis explains in Forbes Everything You Need to Know About Planting Your COVID-19 Victory Garden that during World War II, there was widespread rationing, and it's estimated that 40% of all of the country's fresh produce was actually grown in backyard gardens. You may have family members who started gardening during World War II and they gardened for the entirety of their lives. My grandparents did. They always had a garden. Obviously, rationing isn't a reality right now. Outside of a few runs at the beginning of the pandemic, due to panic, we're not really in need of any food. However, there are other reasons to plant a garden. One of the issues a lot of people are dealing with during COVID-19 is depression and stress. There are several studies that suggest that gardening not only helps with stress, but it helps to alleviate depression. In the relationship between gardening and depression among individuals with disabilities, Wilson and Christensen note that even short gardening outings have positive impacts on emotion. However, gardening has additional benefits to offer. Gardening provides a form of exercise. Don't believe me? Spend some time outside pulling weeds. If you really want a challenge, come help me remove a diseased rose bush. Plus, the time you spend outside provides fresh air and vitamin D. Both are great for your immune system. Gardening also forms a connection to the past. Remember how I talked about my grandparents? Whenever I go out in my flower beds in my front yard, I think of my grandmother and her flower beds in Indiana. She would lovingly tend to them when I was a little girl. And when I go to my vegetable garden in my backyard to pull tomatoes, I have learned to dress head to toe in long sleeves and long pants because I have found out the hard way that I am highly allergic to the leaves of the plant and react the same way I react to poison ivy. Oddly, this reminds me of both my grandfathers who always, no matter how hot it was, wore long pants and long sleeves when they gardened. It's like they knew better. How many summer memories do you have that involve snapping shell peas or green beans with your grandparents? Not only can gardening form a connection to our past, it can bridge the gap with our future. We can pass on those lessons to our children, as my husband and I do with our daughter. Every planting season, we go out as a family and we plant seeds in the garden and pass that experience on to her. We have even planted a memorial rose bush to her grandmother Mimi, who passed away a few years ago, and I'm happy to say that that rose bush has not succumbed to rose rosette disease. We can also share our harvest with our friends and family, passing on our connection and the fruits of our labor. We have an overabundance of tomatoes currently that we've been happy to share with our friends and neighbors, and there's truly nothing better than homegrown tomatoes to make fresh salads and salsa. As explained in the benefits of gardening, an exploratory study of middle-aged women in New Zealand, gardening also provides time for reflection and problem solving, as well as a spiritual relationship with nature and earth, something we all probably need a little more of right now. There's a connection to nature, something primal even about getting your hands dirty and testing the texture of the earth and between your fingers. It provides a connection to nature and gives us a sense of oneness. You don't need a huge yard or garden. All you really need is a few pots and some good soil, some seeds, a good sunny spot, water obviously, and a starter plant maybe, or a tree depending on exactly what you want to plant. The best part of it all is that it's not too late. Fall gardening season is right around the corner, and it's time to get your soil prepared for that period of time. So, getting your soil ready for beans, cabbage, and pumpkins is what we should be doing right now. And the best part of it is because of COVID-19, there are a ton of free classes on Facebook at places like Texas A&M AgriLife Extension coming up, and they cover a wide variety of subjects such as turf care, soaker hose building, planting gardens, and flower bed gardening. So grab a few seeds, a shovel, and let's get planting.